What's up, everyone? It's K.D.M Sports again, and we are back with another huge matchup in Charles do Bronx Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush that we will be discussing about. This fight will be taking place at UFC 289, the next big UFC pay-per-view event, and it will be in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. This is the first big UFC pay-per-view event in Canada since forever. Feels like it's been almost 5 years ago, and it was between Max Holloway and Frankie Edgar. Now let's get straight into this fight between Charles and Beneil, which I believe is the people's main event of this card. This fight is going to be an absolute treat to watch for fans of combat sports, because you've got Charles, who before the Islam fight was looking unstoppable, on a legendary win streak which saw him tear through the lightweight division with 11 wins in a row, and him capturing UFC gold and cementing his legacy as one of the greats with the most submissions and finishes in UFC history. Fighting opposite of him will be Beneil Dariush, who is on a hot streak, winning 8 in a row with 4 finishes and looking to take that #1 contender spot from Charles. Many people already believe Beneil is long overdue for a title shot and looks like he's going to have to go through another tough fight to get to that elusive title shot. This is a scary fight that will probably end in a finish. Oliveira doesn't let go off of the gas and always comes forward looking for a finish on the feet or on the ground. We've seen Beneil get into some crazy and wild brawls. Both guys have power in their hands, but Charles is a bit more polished and diversified in the striking with his high guard Muay Thai stance. His kicks, knees, elbows, and punches are better. Beneil has some heavy hands though. I mean, that fight was beautiful to watch against a talented up-and-comer in Gamrot. And that overhand left was deadly that sat Gamrot down. That punch could crush Oliveira, who defensively has holes in his game, but coming off of the type of loss he had against Islam, you would think a fighter would make adjustments and not come out the exact same way in the next fight. Oliveira lost everything against Islam. The long win streak, consecutive finishes, and most importantly, the lightweight title. He also got finished in his territory, the ground game. We may see a slightly different Oliveira against Beneil, or approach it differently. And maybe he'll look to grapple early, not strike as much, or maybe look to counter and be sharper on the back foot. Charles has publicly stated, though, that he won't change and he'll always look to hunt. And to be honest, I can't imagine him not pushing Beneil back for most of this fight, because Gamrot did the same to Beneil. Even though he was losing and even when Beneil is winning, it's just his style to fight on the back foot and move away to try to line you up for his big left hand. The big question here is, what if Dariush actually starts to shoot for takedowns and tries to get Charles to the ground? Because that would make things interesting. Both guys are super elite on the ground. Is Beneil's jiu-jitsu really on the same level as Charles, though? This would answer that question in this fight, because he does have great control, defensive grappling skills, offensive submission ability, and a great eye to see and know when an opponent is vulnerable. Probably not as good as Oliveira's, because Oliveira is the greatest submission artist in UFC history, and he's quick with getting a hold of you. But I think Dariush's jiu-jitsu is a bit more traditional and makes it a bit slower, especially if he's in top control against Charles. He could cause problems on top. I also think, though, on the ground, Oliveira should have the advantage because of his guard game, and he's very creative, nimble, and aggressive with throwing up submissions. On the feet, it's about 50-50 for me. But Oliveira has the better offensive arsenal. He has more tools to work with, especially coming forward and pressuring. But Dariush's defense and countering could cause serious problems for Charles. The scary thing is, what if Charles walks into a big shot and gets dropped? These punches are not like Islam's. Dariush has really heavy hands and has much more one-punch knockout power. With all the wars Charles has been in, it would not shock me to see him get KO'd. Even though I'm a huge Charles Oliveira fan, I have to be honest. It really wouldn't shock me if he puts him down and keeps him there. But if I were to give my prediction and who I think wins, I'll say Charles by submission. And he'll be the first man to submit Dariush, which would be huge for Charles's legacy. And if it's impressive enough, he could get another crack at the title and have a chance to win it back against Islam in a second fight. UFC 289 is going to be great. And if you've got any predictions, don't be afraid to leave it in the comment section below.